What's up, gang? It's Dominic D'Angelo of Brass Ring Media, and it is the Daily Wrestling Hotline for June 24th, 2025. Fun fact, 25 years ago today, to the day, I, a young Dominic D'Angelo, at the age of 15, relocated from Myrtle Beach, South Carolina to Ridgeway, Pennsylvania, my original hometown. We lived in Myrtle Beach for a year, and it was fun. It was neat. It was at a stage of my life where, obviously adolescence was kicking in. This was my freshman year of high school, basically, was in North Myrtle Beach High School. Go Chiefs. And really took a long time for me to fit in. And, nearing the end, I started to kind of fit in and assimilate a little bit. I got into Little Shop of Horrors. I was Seymour Krelborn in Little Shop of Horrors, the musical. And, but wrestling was a big part of my life back then. I was thinking of so it was around the time SmackDown, the first SmackDown video game came out. WrestleMania 2000 was out, and so played that a lot. The Rock was on SNL. I was getting introduced to Howard Stern on the E channel on E. That's what it was, right? E Entertainment. And just a kind of a neat time. A frustrating time because my favorite Scott Hall was not in the mix anymore that much. And, it was a very transitional time as a wrestling fan for me. But really an important part of me and Marcus be roughhousing and wrestling in the apartment we were at, and the duplex. Really fun stuff. Trying to think if there was any other big wrestling things of note that really stood out to me back then, but that was it. But 25 years ago to the day, moved back from Myrtle Beach, South Carolina to Ridgeway, Pennsylvania. It's not what you're here to hear about. You're here for a daily wrestling hotline. And I kind of trying to think of what was a big highlight of Raw. My initial thought was to talk about, hey, should WWE go to Saudi Arabia? And I'm just so mixed on it right now. Initially my thought was no, don't go, and call for another day. But this whole situation seems so fluid, where it seems like, okay, it seems like everything's all right, but wait, maybe not. Who knows? And I mean, so if I were to be that, I would be like, if it was in that realm, I don't know if I would go. If I was WWE, I'd just be like, yeah, we're going to wait. So that's kind of where I stand on that. So I don't know. I might do a hotline later in the week when it comes to Crown Jewel, not Crown Jewel. What's it called? Night of Champions. And so, but yeah, right now, that's kind of where I'm standing on it at the moment. I just don't feel, I don't know. There's not enough for me to really make a final decision on. But if things stayed at where they are at, where it's just this unknown, I don't think I would go. Trying to think if there's a big takeaway from Raw though that I really want to focus on. Let's do this. Seth Rollins and his group with Heyman here. Is it working? There's some questions. I was pretty confident going into this. Thinking this is the perfect thing for Seth, for Braun Baker, for Bronson Reed even coming into play. And I was like, eventually, I think Becky Lynch will come. And I just kind of had an epiphany right now. So at this moment in time, I don't think this faction is clicking as well as it should. I don't know. Am I wrong on that? That's my perspective on what I'm seeing. Seth cut a promo here on Raw. It got panned a lot, I think, online. I don't think it was as bad as people necessarily think it was. I think what we're getting is what we get of Seth, what we've seen of Seth. Here, when you think of pairing him with Heyman, I think we would get a different side of Seth. But so far what we've been getting is Seth just amped up as a heel and what we've seen before. I think pairing him with Heyman makes him feel like a bigger deal and tries to position him in that main event style that that he's been positioned at before, but not to a level where it's just like a Roman Reigns or a Cody Rhodes or a CM Punk or even a Drew McIntyre. I think in certain ways, I think Seth has kind of been just right under those guys, and so pairing him up with Heyman felt like a great idea. And this promo though, it wasn't as bad as I thought people said it was, but it didn't have a whole lot of substance behind it at the same time. And I'm like, it feels like they're treading water, and it doesn't feel like people are really benefiting from this. It just feels like almost like a thrown together faction at this juncture. And I know it's not, but it feels that way. And but then it just got me thinking, like, with the expectations of this faction, what can happen to change the tone and what we're getting from this. And it hit me because it was something that everybody's talked about already, and that's involving Becky Lynch into this matter. I think Heyman getting paired up is good for it, and you think that's okay. It's Heyman meddling in the business and leeching off of somebody else, and can he give more of a rub to Seth and make him feel differently? It hasn't gotten that yet, but I think if you get Becky with Seth Rollins, you're going to see a completely different side of Seth, because he's with somebody that obviously has a relationship with, husband and wife. They have a child together. So, and Becky knows how Seth is, just as a person on a deeper level. And Becky is just amazing as a personality. She knows who she is. She packs that star power punch. And so I think they got to get Becky here in the mix. And I think that will really, really help this whole angle get going. And, I understand Heyman being a part of it, and, but it also doesn't, it's just not, I just don't feel like it's really resonating as much as I thought it would. And I don't know if everybody else feels the same, but this feels like this kind of moment here made me feel like, what's next for this faction? What makes this more intriguing? Seth has the Money in the Bank briefcase, okay, but what are we getting here? It feels very predictable. I think if you get Becky Lynch in the mix at Seth's side, and them being like this new power couple, this new savage Miss Elizabeth turned up to 11 because they both can wrestle, then you have something really unique here. So that would be my next step for this group, and to make it feel like a bigger deal. So there we go. That's what I talked about. Be sure, if you're tuning into this immediately when it gets posted, to check out tonight. I'll be live with Fonzie at 8 p.m. That's in 30 minutes, so maybe you'll probably see Fonzie and me before you see this. But afterwards, the Brass Ring Media show will be a part of it. Zach K. Dorn and Tyler Sage usually take control, and so that'll be around 9 o'clock tonight. So tune in live if you can and interact. If you haven't yet, sign up for the Patreon. Boom. Patreon.com/BrassRingMedia. And then get that cooking, some good behind the paywall content. I'm going to start doing some stuff for them. So be on the lookout for that. And then, give feedback. Tell me more. I'm going to start making this a daily thing. This hasn't been a daily hotline. It's been a twice a weekly hotline as of recent. So I want to definitely amp this up again and have things cooking on a daily basis for everybody. Topic of the day, so to speak. So, but that'll do it for me today. Thank you for all tuning in. And always remember to call 1-900-909-9900.